down?
It wasn't so much I could walk through his punches. I just knew once I heard him, he was being a bit hesitant, so I could sort of, you know what I mean, get him closer without having to set something up. But you know, he's always dangerous. He's such a big dude. You know what I mean? I don't know how much he weighed in the ring right then, but he was over 100 kilos easy, bro. Like, he was a big guy, but you know, it's finding that distance too. Like I said in a previous, having the range and finding it are two different things. So, you know, I was took his range away from him. I was making him reach. That's what I do. It's not about who hits the hardest. It's a science. This sport. I feel like that's why I create distance there, is because this is what I do.
What's next? So Brady's inside, and you also see Chris focus on as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as champion, you have mandatories, and we know that because of Jai's time out of the ring, he does have a mandatory. But also, we want unifications. You know, there is a strong chance the IBF are going to enforce that fight if they do. We look to get that fight made, and we do it in Australia, and he goes out and beats him again. But obviously, in every fighter's mind, they want to win every belt. I don't see, you know, I mean, with all due respect to Chris Smith, with all due respect to Gula Marin, whether it's Badin Jack still has the belt, I don't see anyone beating him. But I think, you know, listen, we've been looking to make a play with a big name from Australia, and I said tonight in the ring, like, Tim Tszyu's a great fighter, by the way, I'm not taking anything away from him, but he beat the best in the division, and he took the belt, and he took the #1 spot with the Ring Magazine belt, and I think he's going to go and win all the belts. So this guy should be a big star in Australia. We're going to push to make that happen. But I think activity is also key. He's been out of the ring for a long time. Don't forget, Masternak shit himself. Richard Riakporhe, I won't say the same because I like him, but he also went to the toilet. And, you know, Jordan Thompson stepped up. So respect to him. But again, his team was shouting out levels, and that's what you saw tonight. But you'd see levels against all those other guys as well. Chris Smith, you know, Chris Smith's a really good fighter. You know, we've worked with him for a long time. But I'm talking about like a guy who's done well to win a world title against like an elite, I think, a pound for pound fighter in Jai Opetaia.
How excited are you on the fight tonight? Because probably one of the most exciting styles in boxing.
Yeah, because you know what it is, as a promoter, more likely as a fan. Do you know how exciting it is to have a fighter that you think can beat everybody? So I know he'll fight all those guys. So all we've got to do is make it happen. But it's great sitting there in a big fight going, I've got the favourite, and he's a favourite against all those guys. And I don't think he's even touched the surface yet. You know, we've only really met this week properly. But I think he's going to come out of himself. I mean, he's going to become more of a star. You know, he's a good, honest guy that people can respect. He's an ambassador for the sport. But I think he's going to start puffing that chest out, believing in himself even more. And he's a dangerous dude.
Eddie, Chevron Club had a good week today. Another cruiserweight that you managed. How long do you think he's on the road?
Look, Chev's in the top 15, but he's just had 7 fights, and we saw tonight a guy who's had 15 fights. You know, Vasil Duka's a good test, but as we saw from Jordan, it's too much of a gap between Vasil Duka and Jai Opetaia. So Chev needs to bridge that gap, give him 4, 5, 6 fights. Who knows? Britain would love to see him back. Maybe in time he fights another Brit. You know, he can do it. He can do it all, and we'd like to take him to America as well. So you know, a lot of these Australian fighters want to fight internationally. He's got the opportunity to do it. He did it tonight.
And what next for Jordan Thompson?
I think he should move to heavyweight. You know, I said to him in the change room after, I went, no more cruiserweight for you. You know, like sometimes you think that's an attribute, size. You know, and it is, but also it can be detrimental. Like if you're bringing yourself down in weight. Like everyone was looking at the pictures at the weigh-in, and the casual fan would go, oh, there's no way Jai Opetaia can win this fight. And who was the stronger guy? Who was the guy who was backing the other guy up? So I think Jordan will move to heavyweight. Ring body. For our show. No, it wasn't. It wasn't a big ring, but it was a standard ring.
But yeah, I did, man. You know, like even at all the press conference, every fighter on the press, I felt like I was there against them all. But it's all fuel on the fire. I love it. You know what I mean? I'm here to earn respect, and that's what I did. You know, they were all backing Jordan Thompson. They were all saying he was going to win, and they all believed in him. And I took that away. And I don't mean this disrespectfully, but this is what I do. You know what I mean? I wanted this platform. I needed to come here and show you. You know what I mean? And you know, Eddie Hearn say we want to go to America. That's not what I want. I want to have big fights in Australia. I want to fight in Boston Stadium, my hometown. I want to rep my home.
Is that rematch against Brady the one you want next?
Then I'll fight anyone next, you know what I mean? Like Eddie said, if the IBF demand it, we have to do it, but I would love to fight for the WBO next.
Eddie, did you make that fight in Australia?
Which one?
For this rematch?
Yeah, for sure. Like, you shouldn't have to travel anywhere anymore. Like tonight, he did it in a voluntary. But Bradis is a tough fight. I mean, he knows that because he had a good fight first time. But you know, if we have to do that fight, we'll speak to the representatives and Tasman fighters and everybody in Australia to make that fight in Australia.
You spoke earlier in the week saying that how Jai should be a megastar out in Australia. You believe now that that's what you build up and do? He talks about stadium fights.
Australians are just like us, really. They like their sport, they like a beer, and they like a good time. And they like heroes in sport. If you watched, this is the problem with Australian boxing, not enough people watch the Bradis fight to understand this guy should be a national hero, right? So we're beating the drum, but now we're going to beat the drum again. Now he's gone to England as the away fighter, really, and knocked out a Brit in his backyard. You know, so now we need to go back and we need to beat the drum again and get him a big fight. But, you know, he would also take those big fights. I know, like, the aim is to do it at home. But he would have no problem, in my opinion, fighting in front of 30,000 in the UK against Billum Smith if he had to. But as his team, you want to bring those big fights to his backyard. But what he did tonight was smart. The team was smart. You know, they took a quick fight on away soil, massive profile all around. He will see tomorrow and the day after how his profile has changed after tonight, especially in Britain. Like, I've seen social media, people are raving about him. Like, he's a very exciting fighter.
Okay, how difficult is it to make fights against other champions? We know Chris Billum is a boxer, Gulamarian normally know.
Yeah, but look, Billum Smith might be a boxer, I don't know. Billum Smith's got a rematch with a Cody. The broadcaster doesn't want that fight. Cody's got a contract for a rematch. It's a big fucking mess. It's supposed to be happening in November. No one even knows what's happening. Gulamarian's phoning everybody trying to get a deal. Badu Jack hasn't boxed for about a year, no longer with Skills Challenge in Saudi Arabia. So everything's up in the air. We can only control ourselves. But if we have the backing, we have the money, we have the broadcaster, momentum is key. That's the key. What I don't want to do is be waiting 7 months trying to land a fight and it doesn't happen. You know, he's had 14 months out, like little rest and then, you know, back to work.
Jai, how would you sum up your time in England this week? The experience?
It was good, you know, I was out of my comfort zone. You know, we come here to get a job done and we got it done. That's all that matters.
Are you happy to fight here again if needs must? Obviously you want to fight at home or big fights in America, but if needs must, there's a big fight over here. Happy to come back?
For sure. You know, I will go where the big fights are. You know what I mean? If I have to do that. You know, obviously the main goal and my dream would be to fight in Australia and bring big fights there. You know what I mean? It gives a bigger platform even for other Australian fighters, you know what I mean? And that's what I really pride myself on doing, is giving them that platform. We don't have big fight nights like this in Australia, you know? Like, we got Tim Tszyu, but, you know, I was fighting on footy players and stuff undercard. You know, that's what that was selling on our TV. So, you know, I really want to bring big fights over there, do it over there, but, you know, we sit down with Eddie Hearn, we sit down with Tasman fighters and we plan the next fight.
Just lastly from me, is it sort of relief after a lot of sort of uncertainty faced? There was talk about that Reactball fight. Eddie mentioned about Masterneck. You finally got yourself out there after a long period, surgery faced. Do you feel like now a relief, a weight off your shoulders?
Definitely, man. It was a long time coming, this fight. You know, I waited a long time to get in the ring and defend my title, but we got it done. That's all that matters. You know, we're not looking back, we're looking forward, and now we're just going to focus on the next one.
Jai, congratulations.